In the tech world, there's a certain playbook, right? Get funding, grow fast, cash out. Well, today we're talking about a company that basically threw that playbook out the window. This is the story of Zoho, a global tech giant that built an absolute empire, not from Silicon Valley, but from a small village in southern India. It's a story that really makes you question everything you thought you knew about building a successful tech company. And this quote from the co-founders, Sridhar Vembu, it just says it all. It's so humble, so real. It gives you a sense of this folksy, unconventional start for what would become this massive company. And it really hints at a completely different way of thinking about business. And that brings us to the big question, doesn't it? How on earth did a company with these kinds of informal, uncertain beginnings manage to grow into a global powerhouse? We're talking over 100 million users going head-to-head with giants like Salesforce and Microsoft. How did they pull that off? All right, so let's rewind. To really get Zoho, you have to understand that their story didn't start with some grand vision or a slick pitch deck for investors. Nope. It started with a very simple, very practical goal, just putting food on the table. The whole thing kicked off as AdventNet way back in '96, literally out of an apartment in Chennai. Sridhar Vembu famously joined the company by just printing himself some business cards and flying to a trade show in Vegas to make sales. And when the dot-com bust hit in 2001, it nearly wiped them out. But here's the thing, they didn't fold. They pivoted hard. That pivot led to their cloud division in 2005, a full rebrand to Zoho in 2009, and eventually the launch of their massive all-in-one platform, Zoho One, in 2017. It's a true story of survival and reinvention. But, okay, that's the timeline. To really understand what makes Zoho tick, you have to look at their core philosophy, because it is the complete opposite of what you'd expect from a company this big, and honestly, it's the real secret sauce here. You know the Silicon Valley model, right? Get a ton of venture capital, scale like crazy, burn cash, and aim for a quick, massive exit. Well, then there's Zoho. They are 100% bootstrapped. That means no outside investors calling the shots. They're playing the long game, focusing on slow, sustainable growth that's fueled by a deep, deep investment in their own research and development. It's a totally different universe. And if you want to see what their priorities are, just look at this number. Zoho pours a staggering 60% of its revenue right back into R&D. 60%. To put that in perspective, the industry average is floating somewhere around 17%. They're not just buying other companies and stitching them together, they're building an entire cohesive ecosystem from the ground up. And this whole doing things differently thing, it even applies to where they work. Forget the giant, flashy mega campus. Zoho's big on this idea they call translocalism. They're intentionally opening smaller offices in rural villages. And this isn't just for show. It's a core strategy to find amazing talent that everyone else overlooks and to build a stronger, more distributed company. So they've got this really unique philosophy. But how does that actually translate into a product that people buy? Well, it's all about becoming this indispensable, all-in-one Swiss Army knife for any business out there. See, instead of just trying to sell you one amazing app, Zoho's strategy is to sell you an entire ecosystem. We're talking over 55 different applications that are all integrated. CRM, accounting, HR, project management, you name it, it's in there. And it's all designed to work together. They call it the operating system for business. And wow, this model is working all over the world. North America is still their biggest market. Yeah, but look at this. Asia has now jumped past Europe to become their #2 region. That tells you just how much this all-in-one, high-value approach is resonating, especially in emerging markets. Okay, so here's the crucial part. This deeply integrated R&D-first model isn't just a cool idea. It actually lets Zoho step into the ring with the biggest names in tech, and they compete by offering just incredible value for your money. Just look at this price comparison. This is their CRM product against the undisputed king, Salesforce. At every single level, Zoho is just so much cheaper. And then you get to the high end, and it's not even a fair fight. $52 a month versus $330. For any business, that's an absolute game changer. And it's the exact same story when you look at their accounting software, Zoho Books, versus the behemoth QuickBooks. Zoho actually has a free tier for small businesses, which is huge. QuickBooks doesn't. And their first paid plan is less than half the price and gets you more users. It's just a better deal. And yeah, this strategy is clearly paying off. Big time. In fiscal year 2023, Zoho's revenue jumped 30% to over $1 billion. And at the same time, look at this, they pretty much doubled what they're spending on advertising. They know they have a killer story and a killer product, and now they're ready to let the whole world know about it. Okay, the numbers are impressive, for sure. But what's it actually like to use this all-in-one ecosystem? Does it really deliver in practice? Let's take a look at what actual users on the front lines have to say. For a lot of folks, the answer is a huge yes. This user on Reddit is just raving about their support and the power of customization. They actually learned Zoho's own coding language to automate a ton of stuff and make their whole team more efficient. That right there is the all-in-one dream in action. But it's not always a walk in the park. The flip side of having so many powerful separate apps is that getting them all to talk to each other perfectly can be a real challenge. This user points out that the data isn't always connected right out of the box, and that to get that perfect integration, you might have to do a lot of custom work yourself, sometimes while dealing with outdated instructions. It's a seriously powerful toolkit, but you've got to be ready to get your hands dirty and build with it. So all of this leaves us with one big, final question. Zoho is living proof that you can build a billion-dollar tech company without VC money, without a flashy campus, and without playing by any of Silicon Valley's rules. Their patient, R&D-heavy, people-first approach is completely radical. But is it just a fascinating, one-of-a-kind success story? Or is this the actual blueprint for a smarter, more sustainable future in tech?